I watched the video very closely to try to find the flaw. And here it is. And I'm going to blow it way out of proportion to make it seem like it's really important. When it's not. It's not really important. Hey there, it's Sunday morning, and I just released a video on the pop-up bench dogs. And I'm working on my shop vac project, Cyclone thing. And I've taken it apart mainly to check the brushes in here to make sure that there's still some left, because that's what goes wrong with these motors. The brushes wear out. And these are still pretty long. And this being 30 years old, I don't know that I could get replacements, like direct replacements. I could probably get something that I could get to work in here, but that's another story. And, you know, I don't want to put the time and effort into building a project only have it fail a month later, because that's when it decides to wear out. So everything looks good, and I just took it apart to do that. But then I was thinking that I could make some changes here, and, you know, I'm tossing things around how I can do this. One thing's for certain, I'm going to switch from the old original filter to this smaller one here, which is brand new. Like I said, this is the original one. It's starting to collapse a little bit in the middle. It doesn't have that wire on the inside that this one does. That keeps it from collapsing. And this one has a lot more airflow, of course, but then as soon as it starts to operate, it starts to clog. So the airflow drops. And then with the Cyclone, this one won't fill up as quickly. So I'm thinking that trade-off right there might work. I'll have a lower initial airflow, but it'll stay relatively flat, whereas this will have higher inflow or airflow to begin with, and then it will quickly drop off to where it will probably meet this. So I want to talk about something that keeps coming up in the videos, the projects that you do, and that's the I like the project, but it's almost like some people anyway, just watch the project to find the problems or what they think are problems. Like the one this morning is the bench dogs filling with dust and clogging up. Okay? Now, first of all, I don't think that that's going to be a problem, because this is a nice tight fit, and the dust that's created on the workbench here is generally not fine like that. That'll get down there. And even if it does, even if a little bit gets in there, it's not a big deal to pull the dog out completely and vacuum out the space. And I got the same comment about the one that's in the wagon vise, the pop-up dog that's in there. Will that clog up and stop working? As if that's going to happen like 3 or 4 times a day. As if there's so much dust happening, and it's magnetically drawn to that one area that it's going to pack in there, that it's going to stop working. And then on top of that, you're simply not capable of taking the vacuum or the blower and blowing it out. The other one lately was the CNC table. I got a comment, and I can't remember exactly how it was worded, but it had to do with the table being on wheels to begin with. It'll move. You see, when the CNC is operating, the thing is moving back and forth, and it's moving up and down, and it's going, you know, ahead and back. So the reactionary force that that's creating will cause some problems with it being on wheels. So rather than having the table stay right where it's supposed to be, it'll somehow move around the room. I don't know. And then the other thing was how the suspension on the back conforms to the floor. Maybe that's going to be too bouncy. Well, I've been operating the CNC since then. Had no issues. The thing doesn't move. Okay? Inertia is a thing, yes. And when this moves this way, it wants to push the other thing back. But mass is the big factor there. The thing that's moving on the CNC is a lot less massive than the thing that it's sitting on. And that includes the rest of the CNC, the bed and all that. That's pretty damn heavy. So it jitters a little bit, but it doesn't move. Certainly doesn't walk around the room. Yeah, I could, or anybody else that does this actually, that makes projects and puts the videos on YouTube, could make a whole list of such events where somebody said, great project, but I watched the video very closely to try to find the flaw. And here it is. And I'm going to blow it way out of proportion to make it seem like it's really important. When it's not. It's not really important. And the fact of the matter is, if you have the ability to do this kind of thing here, where you can actually put this stuff in, like do it, then you definitely have the ability to maintain it, because that's just a maintenance thing. All right, it's not a deal breaker. All right, it's like the vacuum here. You use the vacuum, it gets filled with dust. You dump the dust out, you clean the filter, and you move on. So yeah, this is what I'm working on next. I'm gonna try to get this done before I do anything else. The shop is a huge mess, of course. Doing this and doing the CNC stuff. I still haven't moved the drill press cabinet off of that wall. I still haven't decided whether I'm going to use my toolbox as the new drill press cabinet. I've got clamps all over the place here that used to be down there that I need to mount on that wall. I've also got a bin that I need to make over there, a vertical bin for the strips of wood that are scattered all over the shop as well. Plus I've still got, plywood, bits of plywood here. But then this project will use up more of that scrap plywood. So I'll do this, get rid of that, and I'll move on with the rest of the stuff.
Pretty sophisticated ingenuity for any kind of animal, man or beast.
Animals are far more like humans than we ever realized. And humans are far more like animals. One thin barrier between us.
And for some, that barrier is way too thin. Hello, Dr. Lecter.